News out of Chicago. On Monday, the Bulls released guard Jaden Ivey for comments they deemed detrimental to the team after Ivey posted some anti-gay sentiments in a lengthy social media post. Ivey specifically took exception to the NBA's embrace of Pride Month, citing the league's, quote, unrighteousness, end quote. Ivey has been active on social media lately, vocalizing his religious views. Ivey's mother, Niele, is the head women's basketball coach at Notre Dame, right up the road at South Bend. Stephen A., what do you make of the Bulls' decision here to waive Jaden Ivey?
It's perfectly within their right to do so. I've only met Jaden Ivey once or twice. I liked him. I met him when he was drafted. His parents were there, obviously. It's one of those situations, I think, and this is why I wanted to tackle this subject, because I wanted to make a point that's very, very important. People have their different views. And on First Take, especially, as long as I'm here, we're not going to sit up here and ostracize anybody. People are entitled to be conservative. They're entitled to be liberal. They're entitled to be, independent, whatever side of the aisle you lean towards, whatever your religious beliefs or what have you, that's fine. But what's needed in terms of the message that's being conveyed, what's needed to be brought across is that just as I said those individuals have that right, so do the Bulls organization or any organization. They have a right to be picky about who they want representing their brand and their product, as does the NBA. The NBA, the NFL, and various sports leagues pride themselves on being inclusionary. That's the fact. That's the way that it goes. And they don't want to come across as alienating anyone. And when you say things and do things that are antithetical to anything that they represent, then you're going to hear from the brand. And by the way, Jaden Ivey, listen to me, my brother. I work for ESPN, which is owned by Walt Disney. It doesn't mean that I have to parrot Walt Disney's speech or I have to march lockstep in every single thing that we believe as a company. But I do have to be careful about what I say and how I convey my thoughts, my opinions, my beliefs, etc., being mindful and cognizant of a brand that you represent. It applies not just to an employer. It applies not just to a company. It applies not just to a league. It applies to everybody. If Ryan Clark has the Pivot and I have my own show and whatever, and we have advertisers and sponsors, those advertisers and sponsors are going to veer away from us if it comes down to us replicating or disseminating a message that's the antithesis of everything they stand for and what they believe. And I think that Jaden Ivey, what he was doing on Instagram with a string of videos, he took into account what his personal beliefs are, okay? And that's to be respected by some, and it's not going to be respected by others. But where he really, really messed up is that clearly he was giving no thought to the Chicago Bulls as an organization, and dare I say the NBA. And as a result, now his NBA career may be in jeopardy. Why? Because you felt the need to go on Instagram to convey your personal thoughts for what? You just look at people sometimes and you want them to see, look at the big picture. Everybody's not going to vibe with you. Everybody's not going to agree with you, and that's fine. But be careful about disseminating messages, particularly when they're non-inclusionary, and it seems to alienate and ostracize a group of people, not measuring people by the content of their character, but instead labeling a group of people the way that he did. That's unfortunate. I'm not here to engage in condemnation. I don't want Jaden Ivey out of the league. I don't want him to ruin his career. I don't want anything like that for him. I swear I don't. And I'm hoping that he'll be back playing for somebody in the league. All I'm saying is that it's important that he sees, and everybody out there sees, the big picture. You play in the NBA, you play in the NFL, you play in Major League Baseball. This notion that you get to be your own individual brand and you have no one to answer to and you have no one to take into consideration, that is a lie. That is not true. Don't let these people out here that ain't got any damn jobs, that don't have people to answer to, that's hoping to have a shred of the success that you have, don't let them influence you and get in the way of your business. You could do a lot of things and live your life and be very, very productive courtesy of playing in the NBA with the money that you have the potential to make. But there's a price that comes with that. And sometimes that means being quiet and not feeling compelled to let the world know where you stand on every single issue. He didn't need to do that. It was counterproductive. And the Bulls showed him that by letting him go. And I'm just hopeful that the NBA collectively doesn't follow suit and ostracize this guy. He's young. He made a mistake. I don't even know if he knows he made a mistake. But the point is, regardless of your beliefs or what have you, most people are going to say it's wrong. Some people are going to say it's right. In the end, be careful about what you disseminate because it lives forever and you're held accountable. And why? Because you wanted to vent for 15 minutes? Be smarter than that. There's a bigger picture to take into consideration.
Yeah.
And I don't think he did that here. And that's my issue.
The initial video is 42 minutes long, roughly around there. He's had some similar rants on social media in the last couple of weeks. So hopefully he takes some time and figures out.
I mean, there's really not much I can add. The Hall of Famer, four-time champ. He's got a memoir out called The Chief. Robert Parrish, this is an honor. Thank you for joining us this morning.
And thank you for showing the highlights when I had hair. Thank you very much.
Good hair, too, by the way. Can I ask you a question? Because I'm not going to be able to get past. Why do we have 3 doors behind us? I feel like I'm in an interesting little maze. Talk to me.
I'm in my woman's office, so bear with me.
Okay. Well, I like it. It's like a mystery going on. I got to ask you about the Iron Man thing, because I have to believe that when you're the Iron Man of the NBA, no one's going to pass that. And then we've got LeBron James doing the longevity game himself. Did you think that would get passed? Did you think that was yours forever?
Looking back on it, I told myself if anybody would break it would be LeBron, because the way he takes care of himself, he's playing at an all-star level. I think this is his 23rd season. The way he takes care of himself, the attention, the focus, the dedication to his fitness, his diet, that's a philosophy that I subscribe to. So I told myself that record would fall if LeBron plays long enough. That's what I said to myself.
And he's doing it, and so much has been made about like the money that he puts in himself and invests. And he's 41. You played till you were 43. Were there any mental hurdles that you had, like at that age, that maybe he's going through that you had to think about?
Oh yeah, the process. I had tell you a funny story. I had a 2-year deal with Chicago Bulls. That last year, I just got tired of the process. What it takes to get ready to play an NBA schedule, I got tired of that. And that's another reason why I marvel, I beam with pride, because I know how difficult it is to practice, to do the repetitive routine over and over and over again. Because if you don't keep yourself in the tip-top shape, the apex conditioning level, that's a recipe for injury. Sooner or later, you're going to get hurt. And I think it's one of the main reasons why LeBron has stayed relatively healthy, because he takes excellent care of himself. And not that you won't get injured or hurt, but normally it won't be anything significant. It won't be nothing catastrophic if you take very good care of yourself.
Yeah. Speaking of Bron, he's very appreciative of the praise and mentioned that the older generation doesn't usually, show love to the younger generation. Why do you feel some of your peers? Why do you feel it's like that with some of your peers towards the younger generation?
Haters. That's why. That is my personal opinion. I could be way off base on that, no question. But I think we just old generation, just haters. That's all. You got to give this generation their credit, their due, because they're playing very good basketball. And it was a lot of criticism from the old timers about the bigs in the games, how they play out on the perimeter way too much. That being said, I like the way the bigs are playing today because they still do big man things. Now, granted, they take a lot of long twos and three-point shots, but they still are a defensive presence on the defensive end. They still rebound. They still block shots. They still create hot havoc defensively. So long as the bigs are still doing big man things, I don't have an issue with them playing out